Today's Russian papers reflect two very different Russias. There is the Russia that portrays itself as a military superpower, threatening Ukraine and the West with Oreshnik intermediate-range, nuclear-capable hypersonic missiles. And there is the Russia where people are stealing butter because of high prices, and where some shops have decided to sell packs of butter in security boxes to reduce theft. First, the new missile with which Russia targeted the Ukrainian city of Dnipro last week. Komsomolskaya Pravda claims that Oreshnik has several unique qualities no missile of the same class in the world has. The ultra-pro-Kremlin papers maintain that the firing of Oreshnik is a warning to Western leaders. The government paper Rossiyska Gazeta declares the madmen in the West received a sobering response after allowing Ukraine to strike Russian soil with Western long-range missiles. Moskovsky Komsomolets claims that Russia has seized control of escalation. What will tip the balance in the West? The emotional response to Oreshnik, which has sharply increased fears of a global conflict, or confidence that Putin won't cross his red line? Their brains are working overtime, forcing the enemy to come up with answers, to flounder and panic. This is control. Except there is no evidence that the West is floundering or panicking. Nezavisima Gazeta today claims that the Oreshnik missile strike did not, it seems, make an impression on supporters of escalation in the Ukraine conflict. In the early hours of the 24th of November, the Ukrainian military continued to strike Russian territory with missiles and drones. In NATO and the US, they pledged continuing military support for Kiev, and in the Pentagon they discussed adjusting America's nuclear deterrence strategy. Western leaders would point out that if anyone is escalating the conflict in Ukraine, it is Russia. Nezavisima leads with problems for the ruble, which has now dropped to 103 to the dollar due to the new spiral of US sanctions pressure. Moskovsky Komsomolets continues to report on butter thefts. In some supermarkets, packs of butter have been moved out of the dairy section into special fridges used for selling caviar by the cash tills. In other chains, they've started putting butter in anti-theft protective boxes. A supermarket employee says about customers, they're nicking butter big time. Sometimes 10 to 15 packs an hour go missing. From retail to the railways, problems here too, as Kommersant reports. Russian Railways' investment programme for 2025 may be cut by more than a third. Nezavisima Gazeta, worrying for Russia, the expansion of US sanctions against the Russian financial sector. The US Treasury on Thursday imposed blocking sanctions against dozens of Russian banks, including Gazprom Bank. Even the government paper admits a problem here. Gazprom Bank is a key link in the chain of payments for gas exports. This is why the sanctions mean temporary difficulties for the receipt of foreign currency in Russia and are affecting the ruble. Income from exports might temporarily go down. Meanwhile, interest rates, currently 21%, could be hiked even higher by the central bank. The paper talks about the likelihood of another interest rate rise in December to 23%. But it explains, if the interest rate was lower, inflation would accelerate much faster to more than 30% a year, like in Turkey.